Ashland and Benton County and surrounding areas, I will try to get into this thing to make you understand how much I appreciate you being here today. Thank you, GT, for that beautiful prayer and for being here today. I think I was probably the first batter that ever had to face GT Thompson when we were playing baseball back when I was about 12 years old, and GT was about that age too. And if you know anything about baseball, I was a left-handed batter and GT was a left-handed pitcher. And let me tell you something. You ain't never seen a 12-year-old could throw a baseball like GT Thompson. The first time I saw it, I thought it was an aspirin by the time it got there to me. But I do appreciate you being here, GT, and I want you to know that most of the time we played, GT ended up winning. It's pretty scary, too, to see some of that. Catherine, I can't thank you enough for that outstanding rendition of our national anthem. Catherine, you can see now why we chose her to sing the national anthem. Her talents are in great demand, and I really appreciate her being here today, and thank goodness she takes after her mother. You know, we literally make millions of decisions in our lives, and the one that brought us here today is one that took me a lot of time and prayerful effort to make. But I got to tell you, when you pick somebody to introduce you at an event of this magnitude, the one thing that you got to hope for is that person won't tell it all. And thank you, Martha, so much. Martha and Donnie and her families are longtime great friends and neighbors of ours, and she has been a great public servant to this state and to Benton County, and I appreciate the work you do, Martha. Mayor, or should I say Senator, I appreciate you and all the work that you do to bring these people together today for this occasion. I just can't tell you exactly how I feel at this point, and I'm going to do everything I can do to get through this. To look out over this crowd today and see so many friends and family members and supporters is a humbling experience if you're standing where I'm standing. And I know I've got some that are parked out on the road that were not able to come up to the courtyard. Some very dear friends like Harold Jordan and Miss Elizabeth Gladney that I think are out there on the curb. If I had to tell you anything about my whole career, it would be that when I was 18 years old, there was about to be a town election, and Harold Jordan is the guy. We used to hang around out at Harold's house. Most of the kids did, because he would feed us, and Martha made some of the best hamburgers in the world, and we'd drink his milk up and do everything in the world. But Harold told me right before that election, he said, if you don't run for the Board of Aldermen, you got feathers on your legs. And I thought, man, I don't know, but what would an 18-year-old person want to do on the Board of Aldermen? All the guys were running back. It was a great little town. I didn't know anything about politics. But, you know, that was that time when I made a decision that I wanted to make a difference in my community. So I ran for the Board of Aldermen. And I got elected. At the age of 18, I became the second youngest person to ever be elected to office in the state of Mississippi. And you know, that was a humbling experience there. But then I got reelected to the Board of Aldermen. And then I got elected mayor at the ripe old age of 27. And that was very interesting process. And I know that there are other mayors here today. Former Mayor Norman Johnson here, and of course Bill is the mayor now. And it was a humbling experience to be mayor of Ashland, and one that I will always treasure. But as a former alderman and mayor and county supervisor, state senator, and chief of staff to both a lieutenant governor and a governor, I believe I have a perspective on state government that few can rival. I have had the opportunity through 35 years of service to the people of Mississippi to see what works and what doesn't. That experience has been the driving force in shaping my plans to improve education, provide access to more affordable health care, and to lead a more responsible government. And it has strengthened my commitment to reverse the practice of putting big corporate interests ahead of Mississippians and to stand firm in my pledge to put Mississippi first. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, my name is Bill Renick. I'm from Ashland, and I'm running for governor of Mississippi. As we move this campaign from the security of those who know me best to the scrutiny of those who don't know me at all, I am confident that more than once I'll be asked the question, what makes you qualified to be governor, and why do you think you can beat Haley Barbour? Both are legitimate questions, and both have very clear answers. Without reservation, I believe I'm uniquely qualified to serve as your governor. I've spent the better part of my life in service to the people of Mississippi. At the age of 18, I became the youngest person in the history of Mississippi, the second youngest person in the history of Mississippi to be elected to public office. And as your mayor, I was honored to serve. But it was in those two offices that I first learned how important the relationship between local and state government can be, and it shaped my opinion on how a governor can best serve the local communities of Mississippi. First and foremost, there must be open and honest representation. It's time to stop playing games with the people of Mississippi and start being honest about both local taxes and other government programs. To run around this state and talk about balancing the budget without raising taxes is an insult to every property owner in Mississippi. When the legislature and the governor pass a law that they can't pay for, all they're doing is sending back to local governments and school districts as an unfunded mandate. And when that happens, our local governments have no alternative but to raise our property taxes. That is the only tax local government has any control over. So it affects your homes and your car tags. And I don't believe we're being undertaxed on either one of those items. As your governor, I will not tolerate unfunded mandates. If the legislature wants it and the state needs it, then the state can figure out how to pay for it. So if a bill passes with an unfunded mandate to be sent back to our local school districts or cities and county governments, it will meet a veto at my desk each and every time. That type of political gamesmanship will stop when you elect me as your next governor. But those aren't the only political games being played in Jackson. Every time, ladies and gentlemen, Haley Barbour has had the chance to choose between the people of Mississippi and R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris tobacco companies, he chose the big tobacco companies every time. For hard-working Mississippians to pay the highest food tax in the United States, while giving big tobacco companies one of the lowest cigarette taxes in the country, is an outrage. The present governor should not stall this legislation in favor of one of his lobbying clients. As your governor, I will not only support, but I will help pass the current legislation to lower our taxes on groceries and swap it with higher taxes on cigarettes.